everyone, and welcome to Shaq versus the Void, where I come talk to you, the empty internet that I call the Void, about a topic that I love. Today, we will be talking about episode 4 of The Boys. So today, we will be basically doing a synopsis of the entire episode. We'll be getting into the finer details, as well as a little bit of speculation towards the end. But we will be talking about that towards the end. Overall, I'm gonna just get my first opinions of my first thoughts out. It was a very good episode. Very good episode for Homelander. Probably his best episode ever. Anthony Starr killed it. The reason why I love Homelander as a character is just because of, it's so believable. Everything that he is believable because of how he was treated. And I love that we just got another reflection of that when we saw this. Like I was saying in the last episode, we are sticking to the past in this episode as well. Seems like a lot of threads were about people's past. Let's get into it. It opens up to the people at the base, Marty and like a couple other scientists at the base. Someone's looking at like an older picture of the mock uniform for Homelander. It's like a very, very like classic one, like 1987 when Homelander was a young boy. Then we see a couple pictures of the scientists while they were working there when Homelander was a boy. Marty at this time, he's the head director, I think, like one of the side directors, maybe like a chaperone or something like that now, but it's like before that. We get to see him and the other guy. I can't think of the other guy's name. I'm terrible with names, so unless you're memorable, you will be forgotten for sometimes. But yeah, so we see that they're experimenting on temporary V. They're not actually experimenting on compound V. We can tell that's temporary V by the green hue, but they're experimenting on it, and then all of a sudden they seem to go radio silence upstairs. They're like in a bunker, and it seems to go radio silence. The cameras go off. Everything is like completely off. And they're trying to reach out, the guard's trying to reach out to everyone and trying to figure out basically what is going on, and he gets no signal. So they're waiting for someone to arrive basically downstairs, and it's Homelander with a cake, which I thought was hilarious. It was just a perfect play. We obviously know that Homelander killed all those people up there. I'm pretty sure the people down there understand that, the people that are in the situation now understand that Homelander killed those people down there. So it's kind of just a funny way that they did it, the way that they played it. The tone of it was very funny. But Homelander comes out with a cake, and he's basically he seems like he's gonna be off the hinge, off the jump, but he's very excited to see Marty. Marty calls him John. He instantly tells him his name's Homelander, and he's basically, we know, and I'm pretty sure these people know at this point, we could just tell that, okay, this fool Homelander is about to be torturing this fool for the entire episode. And so he just basically tells everyone to sit here, and basically like he wants to catch up with them, and he's asking to bring back one of the head directors, Barbara, because she's like, I guess we know this later, but she's basically his first mother. His first visual aspect of her mother, and he wants her to be here. So he basically tells everyone, yeah, dig into the cake that I got, and then let's get this started. For the beginning, great scene, started off amazing. I was like, oh wow, this whole entire episode's going to be about us just coming back to Homelander, and he's just going to constantly be torturing these people, which it seemed like it kind of did turn out to be. Then we go to the next scene where it is Butcher, and he is inside the shower, and he is a little bit woozy, and we see that the tumor or whatever in his body, which we'll get into later with the speculation, is moving around, and it passes out and he knocks out in the shower, which hilarious take. He just hits his head against the freaking faucet or the shower head, and it's just a hilarious take. If you haven't watched it, definitely check it out. But yeah, he gets hit in his head, and he's still alive, he's all good, but Becca's telling him to get up, and he's still seeing the illusions of Becca. That's just basically to show that that Butcher's not well, not looking good. And then let's go to another not well person. We see that Huey and his mother are in the hospital with his father that is pretty much at a vegetable state, and Huey's mother seems to have made a decision that at this point his brain is pretty much gone. And this is, they haven't talked about it yet, but they've hinted at it. Let me say that they've hinted that this seems like something that his father has told his mother like a while ago, that if he's ever in a vegetative state, just let me go. And everything seems like, you know, his mother's just like doing everything that his father would want him to want her to do. And so she basically tells the doctor, because she has full power over full attorney over her ex-husband. So she tells the doctor that, yeah, go ahead and start getting ready to let him pass away. So Huey's trying to battle this, and we already kind of know how he's going to battle this in our heads, because he looks at the IV at one point, and we already know that he's probably thinking about Compound V. So that's setting up the story thread for Huey later on today. And then we get the next scene where Starlight meets up with Bob Singer, and they are talking about the whole hero agreement situation. Starlight wants to get it passed because she's done with Vought. She wants to put Vought in the ground. We obviously know her motives. Bob Singer has had the same motive since the first or second season he got introduced her. So it seems like this is just something that he's been working on as well. So they're talking about working together. Starlight's going to have basically the citizens ready to sign the petition whenever it does come up to take down the hero. So she's basically going to get all of her people to power up together and get this bill passed. So it's looking like they're setting up to be having a good business relationship. There we go. That's the best way to say it. And then we cut to the next scene, which is every time I see these fools together, man, it's just like, God dang, man, when are you gonna tell this fool? We cut to Frenchie and the guy that he's messing with. I'm gonna remember the guy's name next episode, guys. Do not worry about that. But we cut to them messing with each other. They just got done hooking up with each other the night before. It's the morning, and basically the guy's playing like a Ray Charles song, really good Ray Charles song, by the way. I was like, oh yeah, I need to check this out right after I heard it. But Frenchie and the guy have a conversation about his parents, and Frenchie brings it up, which is the most craziest thing in the world. Like, if I was this dude, the second I find out that Frenchie killed my father, this fool will be getting his ass whooped. That is what we call foreshadowing. But yeah, they have a conversation about basically the situation, and the guy saw the shooter, which is Frenchie. The only thing he saw was because he was awake when everything happened. He got awoken by the gunshots, and the only thing he saw was the shooter's ankles, and he basically knows exactly what his ankles look like. And it's very distinct because they are Frenchie's burnt marks. I've been watching a couple videos before I release this. It's kind of a shout out to him talking about his whole situation with his father. Those are the burn scars that his father left with the cigarettes. So yeah, so just the situation just keeps getting deeper and deeper for Frenchie. It's like, you got to tell this fool, man, what you tripping. And then we cut to the next scene where it is Starlight, and they're at like their Starlight's at her. She has like a shelter home, I believe. Yeah, it's a shelter home. She has a shelter home for teens, and they're at the shelter home for teens, and she's getting people ready because she's about to announce basically that. I'm thinking because she tells Bob Singer that she's gathered all of her people, but her people give her a weird look, and they show her across the street that Firecracker is setting up for a show. And then we cut to Sage doing basically like the press run. You know, Sister Sage is a girl right now, basically doing like the whole press thing, doing exactly what Stormfront did. Like, it was like kind of like a like, not a homage, but just basically kind of like a callback to how Stormfront basically told Homelander that you're doing all this money, putting all this money in the press, and I'm just doing memes, and it's all working. It's getting people more riled up than what you're doing. And it's just calling back to that kind of scene. But Sister Sage is basically just way smarter, just doing it way better. And then her and Firecracker and Sister Sage have a conversation. Well, no, let me get this, because I think this is gonna play into the theme of what happens later on in the season, because I do think A-Train's gonna die. A-Train gets a text during the middle of the call, during the middle of the meeting, and Sister Sage notices, and she keeps just noticing every single time A-Train does some stuff, and then we'll see what happens with that text. But I just wanted to call that out because that's just another call. I think A-Train's done because Sister Sage is on him. But then Sister Sage has like a private meeting with Firecracker, and she's telling her, like, she's basically pumping her up, getting her ready because she knows that she can take down Starlight, and she gives her some information that we'll find out about what the information was later. But she gives her this information, and Firecracker's super pumped about it, super hyped about it. And then she says a really racist quote, a really racist thing, a snark to say. She calls her uppity, and I was just like, when when this happened, I was just like, oh my god. And every single time Firecracker, man, you're just like, I can't wait till something happens to you. And so yeah, so that's pretty much setting up the next scene. So we go to like a couple scenes later. I believe that Firecracker, I think it's like right after we show the Firecracker 2 barn, like trailer, and right after that, that's when they show that the boys are coming back in, Butcher and the boys. So it's Frenchie, it is Butcher, and it is Mother's Milk. And then they're here basically here for Annie's protection, just making sure everything's cool. And he's also sneaking out all the kids in the back because, you know, crazy psychos are gonna go crazy and try to sneak up in here and take the kids away from her because they think that she's out here doing crazy stuff. So what I like is, because no one's ever called this out, because it's kind of weird, it's wrath against Annie. And Butcher finally wises up and asks her, so what's going on? Like, what do you and her have an issue with? And Annie, plainly simple, you can tell that she's lying. She basically says, no, I have no idea. I have no idea what you're talking about. So then Butcher tells Mother's Milk that basically, if you give me a certain amount of money, I think it's like 500,000. If you give me 500,000, I can make all this disappear. And Mother's Milk's like, all right, I'm not going to let you go anywhere with 500,000. You won't disappear. So they go off and they try to bust off a mission to get rid of the Firecracker group. And then we cut back to one of the first horror scenes that we see with this situation with Homelander. These people, Homelander is chilling with these people. These people are eating the food. We see that the cake is pretty much halfway gone. I ain't gonna lie, if I was in the situation, that cake would have been gone. Like, I mean, we dying here, so might as well enjoy my last meal. So they're chilling there. They're enjoying their meal, and Homelander like looks at a furnace, and it kind of like makes a flashback, and he asks the guy who I thought was a janitor, but was actually a scientist, because the dude was wearing like overalls, I guess. He's wearing like janitor overalls, so I thought he was a janitor, but apparently he was a scientist. And then I saw earlier, like I said, I called back earlier. You saw him earlier in the picture, in the science row, and he talks to this guy, and he tells him like basically, hey, like, do you remember that? Like, let's play a game of paper ball. And so the guy's like, all right, for sure, cool. And Homelander tells him like, hey, if you win, you get to go see your missus, and you know, I'll let you go home early type stuff. And so they shoot like the first round, and then Homelander tells him like, hey man, you know, like I learned this game from you. And the dude's like, he doesn't give him like the reaction he wants, and he's like, you obviously don't know what I'm talking about. He's like, no. The dude's like, no, I don't have any idea what you're talking about. And then basically Homelander just tells him how he remembers it, because when he was sitting in a furnace burning, he couldn't burn to a crisp, he was just burning. He remembers seeing that dude shooting a shot into the wastebasket, and when he made the shot, he freaking he like made like a celebration, and that's like been embedded into his memory. And I love how Homelander like calls out the thing about like, it's funny how memories to some people like can be embedded forever, but to other people it's just like, it was like a normal Tuesday to him. So I like that callback. But yeah, so Homelander, you can see this is the first torturing, so we're already getting it. It's like, all right, these fools are done. So they take another round of shots. They both make them, and then Homelander goes, all right, I'm gonna take this next shot, but you go ahead and watch it in the oven. And then the guy's like, what? And he's like, yeah, go watch in the oven. And then the dude's like, I don't know. And he's like, all right, I'll either put you and your family in the oven, or you can just go in the oven. And then the dude just goes up in the oven. It's like, oh my god, this fool Homelander's tripping out again, man. And so they're trying to stop him. What's his freaking name? Marty. It says like, hey, John. Calls him John again. He's like, my name's Homelander. And he's like, don't say nothing. He basically gives him the look like, you better not say shit or you'll go in this furnace. The dude also said that like one of his excuses was, I was just doing my job. And the dude, before he gets burned, tells Homelander, I'm sorry, all this type of stuff. And Homelander just makes a great callback, and he goes, what do you mean you're sorry? You were just doing your job. And it was just a really, like, Anthony Starr killed this scene, man. Really, really good episode for Anthony Starr overall. But yeah, that was the very first torture scene we saw with Homelander. So we already know every single time we come back to this, we're just going to catch up. It's really cool how we keep getting like more and more deeper about Homelander, you can just see that this is the reason why he's like this. No one ever cared for him. It just shows that if one person would have shown that they cared for him, maybe he would have not been like this. And it makes sense why they try to do differently with Ryan Vought. And then the next scene, we show Hughie and Kimiko meeting up at a fish market, like at a fish dock, and they're waiting to rendezvous with someone. Kimiko has no idea who it is. And they're just showing around waiting. We do see that at one point, it feels like they're being watched before the person arrives, and it's A-Train. And basically, he was like, all right, I need Compound V because I'm trying to save my dad. And A-Train's like, you're tripping. Like, Homelander got in a safe. There's no possible way I'll be able to get it. And he was like, you owe me. I need to get this. My dad's gonna die. Like, if you owe me a life, pretty much. And A-Train's like, if I do this for you, you'll pretty much be you'll be cool with our situation. Like, we'll be good. And he was like, yeah, we'll be all good. And so A-Train's like, all right, I'll go do it. So it just shows you how much A-Train's just done. In the sense of he's cool and ready to die. That's why I think he's 100% gonna die, because he would never do this in the first or second season. So it's like it's actually taking a toll on him of the things that he's actually doing. A-Train dips out, and then right when he dips out, we see who had the sniper shot on Kimiko. It is the Shining the Light, and they basically are trying to go after Kimiko. This little Huey breaks his ankle in the most craziest way I've ever seen in my life. He runs into a forklift, like dead in front of a forklift, and the forklift, like, I'm not even talking about like on the side of it. It was like the edges, and he freaking twisted. He messes up his ankle, and so Huey basically has to tie up his ankle with a ruler. Kimiko has to tie his ankle up with a ruler. She gives him like a couple weapons, like a box cutter and like a shield that she breaks off with it's like a filing cabinet, and she gives him this weapon. And Kimiko's like pretty much about to go to work, and then I do believe that we cut away. I will say this: Kimiko's character, Kimiko has been able to be a lot more expressive. I love the fact that she was able to like express herself through the text messages. That was so cool. She's also been able to express herself through like just physically. She's been able to express herself, and every time she gets to do it, it's really, really good. I'm happy that they're allowing Karen to do this. Karen, I don't want to mess up her last name. It's like Fukumara or something like that. She's a really good actor, but everything she's in, she's always not talking in it. So I'm glad that she gets to like do more stuff, because in the first two seasons she only is like she only has comedical moments and sad moments, really. So it's really cool that she gets to have like more funny lighthearted moments. Then we come back to Butcher and Mother's Milk, and they basically just got some information from Firecracker from Web Weaver, who is basically this version of Spider-Man. I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. I know we're gonna meet this fool, and I'm super scared to meet this fool, because this fool's gonna probably piss me off because of how much I love Spider-Man. But because he's this version of Spider-Man. But they basically got information from him because he's a drug addict. They've actually been like hinting at this from the show, throughout the show, that he's a drug addict. In some of the news feeds, they say that web readers come back from rehab and stuff like that. And basically Butcher's going through his motions of like he can't walk and stuff like that because of the whole situation of his body deteriorating. And he basically plays out to Mother's Milk that he needs, like, if he can't make it, he needs someone to take Ryan. And he tells Mother's Milk, I want you to take Ryan. And Mother's Milk's like, I don't know, man, like, what if he doesn't want to come with me? And he's like, you have to make him come. You're the best father I ever known. And I love how Mother's Milk was like, that might be the nicest thing you've ever said to me, which is hilarious, which is a funny thing, like a funny callback, because Butcher doesn't say nice things to anybody. Then they meet up with Firecracker, and Firecracker's basically wondering who the heck they are. She knows instantly who they are. Actually, I'm a liar. She knows instantly who they are. She's like, oh, you're the one who got my friend killed. Her friend gets friend zoned again, which is hilarious. You're the one who got my friends killed. And they're like, yeah. And so they have information that basically that they're going to leak out to the public, that she was a PDF file. And that's the reason why she's going after all of these people and using that as her like attack, is because it's like a reflection of who she is. And they're like, we're going to send this all out, or you give us information about Sage's like plan. And so I like this scene. I didn't call this out before they did this, but at one point Butcher's talking to her, and this is like one of my favorite lines of the whole entire thing. She says, "Speak American" to Butcher, which is hilarious. That's one of my favorite lines because it's just like, you are just beyond racist. Gives her this ultimatum, and she just pushes send and says, "All right, let's go, let's do this." And she goes outside to the people and she repents and tells everybody the story, which in the story, she's even like saying crazy stuff. She's talking about, like, at one point she says God brought that little boy to her so she can repent, and I mean, so she could become close to the Lord and all this type of stuff. And it's like, okay, it's just so funny, like the shots that they were calling it religion right there. But yeah, she repents and her whole entire audience buys into it, which is just buying into the whole thing of like whoever controls the narrative controls like what people think, which buys into what Homelander's whole plan is at the end of the day is to get all these people riled up so then at the end he can come in and save them. And then after that, we cut to A-Train in the Homelander's room, which I think is crazy. Homelander is gonna know somehow, right? Like, he has to know. He has super smell. He has so many things he has to know. But A-Train's looking for that Compound V. He finds all the weird things that Homelander has in his office, and he finally finds the Compound V. And when he finds the Compound V, the one thing that I would like to say is it was in a weird formation. Does Homelander know the formation that was in? So when one is taken away, he can easily spot it? Or has Homelander been giving Compound V to a bunch of people? I saw speculation maybe he's been giving it to Ryan, which would be a good speculation in my opinion. But I could see Homelander just be giving it out to random people. Part of me, and I'll get into speculation, this is just like a little speculation. Part of me thinks Homelander might be actually trying to do some crazy stuff, and it's really on some birthing people stuff. Like, he's like, I'm trying to make a super race of people. So he's really just impregnating a bunch of people and giving them giving them Compound V. I hope that's not what's happening, because that sounds crazy and it's just another layer of Homelander's craziness, but that's what a part of me thinks is happening. And then all of a sudden the A-Train runs into Ashley, who is in the same in his Homelander apartment, and basically we find out that she left a floater in his bathroom, which is a callback to when the Deep told her to leave a floater. And they basically have a stalemate because they both have information on each other. And so they're basically like, all right, well, I guess this is how it's going to be. Then we cut back to Homelander, and he is talking to Marty and the other crew, and we hear a story about how Homelander was doing something that little boys do, and Marty caught him in the middle of the act, and Marty humiliated him. And then Homelander basically makes Marty do this in front of a bunch of people to humiliate him. And this is like the most craziest scene in the entire episode, probably one of the most craziest scenes in the entire show. And he makes him do all this crazy stuff, and it's just like, oh my god, it's so crazy. And so that happens, and then Marty gets lasered in a specific area, and this is like one of my favorite lines in the entire episode. Homelander goes, he walks in the blood, and he goes, "You're getting dick blood on my boots, Smarty," and that shit just had me dead. Like, I was laughing my ass off. And right when he's doing this, at the end of the torturing, the woman barber comes in, and instantly she demands like his attention. She takes the aura from the room. Like, it's like you can see the motherly figure off of her, and she tells John basically. She calls him John. She doesn't even deal with the Homelander stuff. She tells him, "I want to have a conversation with you in private," and he's like, "All right, let's have a conversation in private." And he takes her to the red room, and we're gonna see what happens next on that next scene. But yeah, just a crazy scene. Barber seems already like intimidating from the jump. So yeah, just Homelander, man, he was doing crazy stuff this whole entire episode. And then we come back to Kimiko fighting off the people. Kimiko gets hit with a grenade launcher, which is crazy. Her whole entire body blows up. What a cool effect. We also see that Huey gets into a fight at this scene, and he basically does some savage stuff. He kills this dude, and he like stabs his neck and like gets blood splattered on him. So this is like Huey's blood splat scene for the season. And he like sits there, and he like, it's like he's acknowledging that he's like he's one of the boys. Like, I feel like he's always felt like he's an outsider, and it's like this one, it felt like he was like, oh no, this is me, this is who I am. And then we cut back to Kimiko fighting that person. We get a little bit further detail about why this person hates Kimiko. And basically, Kimiko is the reason why this person is even involved with the Shining Light. Kimiko and her were, I guess, we're somewhere, and Kimiko snuck her away from the people. And yeah, so that's just so crazy. So we're just getting further and further details about the Kimiko situation. Nothing happens to the girl. Kimiko doesn't kill her or anything like that. We cut back to Truth Bomb with Firecracker. We find out that Starlight basically, because we find out the news that Sage gave Firecracker, that Starlight basically had an abortion. And so this is crazy. I can't believe they even had this is where it went to. Like, this was the special like information she had. And so Starlight's super pissed about this, super angry about this. And then while she's doing this, Frenchie was sent on a private mission to go infiltrate Firecracker's trailer and try to find some information. And he gets caught by Ezekiel, and them two get into a fight with each other. And then we cut back to Starlight arriving at the Firecracker situation. She like arrives there, instantly gives Firecracker the hands. Probably my favorite fight so far. She was whooping the mess out of Firecracker. And yeah, so we cut back to the trailer where Frenchie was getting his ass whooped, and then we see Butcher come in and save him, and Butcher freezes the dude's arm. I instantly knew that was going to happen, because I think that's how they got him the first time, was they froze his arm and then they broke it off. So instantly when I saw Butcher, I was like, I know he's going to freeze his arm and then break him. I love that Sister Sage has a moment where she basically calls her a cracker, Firecracker, when she's watching that Starlight's whooping her ass. She's basically just like all of us, just watching Firecracker lose. It was so funny. And then we get a nice little callback to Annie kind of helping out Mother's Milk in a situation where last season Mother's Milk was going to keep attacking Soldier Boy, like he was gonna keep fighting, and Annie told him that like people need help, people need rescue. And basically we get a call back here to Mother's Milk doing that for Annie, and he basically tells her like, look at the situation, like you're messing the whole entire situation up. She realizes what's going on, and then she runs away. And while this is going on, Butcher is fighting for his life still with Ezekiel. Ezekiel gets him to the point where he's in a chokehold, and then we start seeing a couple of visions with Becca pop up, and then it fades to black. Well, we do see the whatever's in his brain or whatever in his body moving around. We do see it, and it fades to black, and we hear a bunch of screaming, and then we wake up, and this fool's covered in blood, and the whole entire trailer is covered in Ezekiel. And then I love after Mother's Milk hits us with the scene like, what the F happened? Because that's exactly what I'm thinking. We'll talk about it later when it comes up. But yeah, from there I was like, oh dang, so this fool still either has powers or something's going on. But this is also when I thought to myself, the visions that he's seen about Becca is not good. There's something deeper with that. And then we cut back Homelander and his like therapist, Barbara, in the room, and he calls it like the bad room or whatever. She's like, it's just a room. Like, she's just completely dominating this whole entire situation. It's like Stan Edgar all over again, and he's just telling her about like how like he doesn't need to be a human anymore, and like he doesn't care about any of this anymore, and this is basically him like changing his life, and he's proving that he's not human. And she basically tells him like, you can't do that, and she explains that Vought like trained him to be like this. Like Vought always trained him to always want the approval of others. That's like, they got a psychiatrist and did that, and that was the only way that they knew that they could control him. And which in my head I'm like, then why did y'all not be more nice to him? Like, because if that's the way that you have to like you have to make the dude care about you, because now it's to the point where the dude won't care about you guys. Like, he sure might disappoint you guys, but it's like he doesn't like you guys or care. He will get to the point where he resents you guys. That's what I felt like. Like, if you guys are this smart to get a psychologist and make him think like this, why aren't you guys smart enough to like give him enough love so he wouldn't turn out to be this evil? You know what I mean? That's what I thought of instantly. So that was like what came to my head when they were talking about this. But it's a smart way to do it. And then Homelander basically tells her that he really wants to show her why he calls this a bad place, and we cut away. And then we cut back to Annie, like basically dealing with the Reaper. Well, no, we actually cut before that. We cut to this fool Frenchie he's mending his wounds with this guy, and the guy basically is like trying to help him out, and Frenchie pushes him off, which thank freaking God. And he tells him finally that he killed his whole entire family, and this dude is just pissed the F off and starts giving Frenchie the hands, which he deserves. Probably the best ass whooping in the entire show next to Starlight and Firecracker. Both, I mean, same episode, probably the best ass whoopings. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, so he told him that if he ever sees him again, he's gonna kill him, and I'm just over here like they're gonna get back together because he would have killed him then. And then we cut to the weirdest scene of the night, even weirder than the Homelander making that guy do that in front of his freaking scientist pals. We cut to the Deep and Sister Sage chilling with each other. Sister Sage I love how Sister Sage's whole entire room is covered in books like her house, and she's trying to relax, and basically the Deep, she's like being rude to the Deep, but kind of like not as rude as she normally is. No, she tells him that she has the some food for him, and the Deep's like, yo, what's going on? Like you act super mean to me and during the day, and then like now you want to be all nice to me. And then she basically explains to him like, my brain like never stops growing, it always regenerates. You can stab me in the heart and I'll die, but if you stab me in the brain, it just keeps regenerating back. And so for her to relax, she has to like lobotomize herself, which someone on Twitter called it right after, like a day and a half after I saw someone say it on Twitter, that that's what she does to relax. And so then we get a disgusting scene where, first, I love how to get the Deep to do a lobotomy on her, she has to like bargain him with sex stuff, which was hilarious. He's instantly down once she tells him that she's down to do sex stuff with him. And then so she gets a lobotomy from the Deep, which I don't know how you would ever trust him with any type of tool. But yeah, the situation goes through and those two hook up, and then we cut back to Annie. Dealing with the repercussions of what happened of today. I love that Kimiko, I love that Annie's part of the boys now, because Kimiko has like another girl that she can like share things with, and that was just cool that I love when they always call back to it. Anytime they ever show that Annie and Kimiko have a relationship, I love when they call back to it. And then during this, we find out that Huey knew about the whole entire situation about Annie getting an abortion, so we understood that this is like something that they made together. And then Huey had to leave, and in the middle of him having to leave, Annie gets a call from Bob Singer. He tells her, this whole entire bill was going to pass, but because of you, it's not going to pass. And he tells her the whole entire deal's off. And so he's like, we're not going to be together. We're not going to be associated with each other. And so Annie's like really, really down and sad about the situation. I'm pretty sure her and Kimiko are going to have some drinks because Kimiko is down about the situation. And then we find out that, because the next thing we see that Huey is meeting up with A-Train to get the Compound V to help out his father. A-Train and him meet up. A-Train actually has a Compound V for him, and A-Train tells Huey like, you're not gonna forgive me, like we're still gonna be mad at each other, right? And Huey basically forgives him finally and tells him, no, I forgive you, like I wasn't going to, but I actually do forgive you, which is a great moment. I'm glad that A-Train gets to get this before he dies. So yeah, that was really good scene. A-Train they're just setting him up to die, man. There's no possible way he's gonna get all these great like redemption arcs and redemption moments. All the bad guys seem to get redemption arcs and redemption bad moments, and then they die. I do think that the way that A-Train's gonna die is gonna be very similar to how Queen Maeve dies in the comics. How Queen Maeve has like a big heroic moment where she stands up to Homelander and then gets squished and like within like a moment of it. So I think I think that they're gonna translate that to what happens to A-Train. I think A-Train's gonna do a big heroic moment, and Homelander's gonna kill him in like a second. So yeah, then we see that Butcher was eyeing them that whole entire conversation, and Butcher tells him, but because he sees that he's getting Compound B, Butcher tells him basically that it won't work because Butcher tried to use it on himself and it just made it worser. And Huey's like, I gotta try and all this type of stuff, and he still leaves. And then Butcher's like trying to figure out what happened in a trailer with Ezekiel, and he sees Becca in a hallucination, and she doesn't say anything. So I'm assuming that this is a parasite in his body. So we might as well get into speculations about these couple of things. I think Butcher has a parasite in his body that's controlling his brain. I don't think that's Becca. I think that it's picking on things of his memory to push him to do things for him. Because I think if he dies, the parasite dies, obviously, because it's leaving in his brain. They kind of showed that like sicknesses like cancer can live off of Compound V in the Diabolical animated series, and I think they're going to bring it over to the live action series to show like to that way. I think everything that they do in their universe is kind of like they do it to a point. It might not be something that we know now, but it'll be something later, and I think that's what's going to happen to I think that's what's happening to Butcher. I think the thing that is living inside him is controlling him is a living sentient. I think that's what it is. And at one point, it probably will control Butcher. I think that's probably might be, if Butcher doesn't die this season, that might be the thing that will keep Butcher alive. Like, he might become super crazy at one point, and then that's what happens at the end. So just another good scene with the A-Train situation. And then we get to the last scene of the episode, with the last two final scenes of the episodes, where Huey comes to give his father Compound V, but we see that he seems to second guess himself, and then his mom comes into the room. And people have been saying that it seems like Huey gives his dad the Compound V, because eventually Huey will be giving his dad the Compound V. But I've looked at this multiple times, and when I first watched it, I got this impression. Well, Huey sits his jacket down that had the Compound V in a chair, and then Huey's like sitting there with his mom, and they're like basically waiting for his dad to die, and he's like, Huey's about to cry, and his mom tries to comfort him, and he leaves. And then this is why I even double down on it a little bit more, is Huey goes into the room to like get coffee, and you can see that he's kind of like dealing with the fact that his dad is going to die. It doesn't seem like he knows that his dad's going to live off of Compound V. And then comes back and he gives his mom Compound V. And when he comes back, we do see that his jacket has been moved to like the foot of his father's bed, and then all of a sudden there is Compound V going inside of his father's veins, and the heart rate starts beating up, and it seems like his father is going to live. Now, speculation, his father is probably not going to live in a good situation. This is probably going to be terrible. I'm pretty sure his father's going to be a zombie, because that is something else that happens in The Boys, in the comic books, and they haven't brought it at all into the show. And I think it would be a cool nod to have Sean Penn from Shaun of the Dead. And his name's not Sean Penn, is it? Let me look up his name. Let me not be rude. There we go. Simon Pegg. Boom. Simon Pegg. To have Simon Pegg be the first zombie in the Boys universe would be kind of funny, because he's from Shaun of the Dead. So I hope that's what happens. But I think his dad's going to be some type of super zombie. And that's what happens in The Boys. Like, at one point, you take ZenV to the point where you can't die. And like, your body will just get to the point where your brain will stop living, but your body will still be, every other motor function, every other part of your body will still be able to function. So you're just basically a brainless zombie. And two people are like that. Lamplighter is one of the most huge zombies like figures in The Boys, but I think that this is probably the way that they're going to introduce The Boys. So he's going to have some superpowers, but I think he's also going to be a crazy superpower zombie. And then we cut back to Homelander, and we get to see the wreckage of what he did in the Red Room. And he left just Barbara in that room, which I think is like another nod that maybe Barbara's going to come back a little bit later, maybe towards the end. But yeah, he leaves just Barbara in that room, and she just is in a bloody mess. We get the one shot where Homelander is completely covered in blood, and it's freaking glorious. And we're just like, yep, this full Homelander is about to become a new person after this. So let's get on to a little bit of speculations, because it's a very long video already. But this is one of the speculations I have to ask. I wonder what Homelander is going to do when he comes back, because he's going to be different. I don't think he's going to care about people's opinions. My one worry is Ryan, because like, I just feel like Homeland is going to take another leap of craziness, and I don't think Ryan's going to agree with this. Another worry I have is, where does Sister Sage come in at this place? Because I just feel like Sister Sage is, I don't know, man. There's no way Sister Sage is going to live out through this situation and be good throughout the whole entire situation. So I'm just trying to figure out what that's going to happen. Annie's situation is getting more and more interesting, because it's really coming to the point where she's becoming more humanized, where I felt like she's always felt like she's looked up on people as she's better than people, and now we're finally seeing that she's just like everyone else. She has stink just like everyone else, and so I'm excited to see what she does with that. If it's going to hurt her in the sense of like make her worse, or is it going to make her stronger and all that? I'm assuming it is, but I'm excited to see how they make that type of range with it. A-Train's situation is, every time A-Train is on the screen, I'm excited, also nervous, because I'm just like, this fool can die at any point. But A-Train, I'm excited to see where this goes with him, with his situation. I know he's going to be getting pushed further these couple of episodes, so maybe we're going to see a little bit more risk from A-Train. So that's more exciting. That's exciting. And then this whole Huey, his father, and his mom situation is probably the second to third highest story thread, I would say. Like, Homelander is number one easily. Homelander's always number one. This Butcher Parasite situation is probably number two, or like Butcher situation with cancer is number two, because it's very interesting. We're figuring out little breadcrumbs with him, and I'll probably say Huey and his dad situation. So I'm excited to see how they. Number one, I'm pretty positive he's going to be a zombie, because there's shots in the trailer where it shows someone in like a freaking a hospital gown, and it's like blood all over him, so I'm pretty positive it's going to be him turning into a zombie. So I'm excited to see that, and then I'm also excited to see, like, did Huey do it, or did his mom do it? And I'm pretty positive his mom did it. I don't think Huey did it. And then, like I said, the second highest story is what is going on with this parasite in his head. I do think that it's controlling him, and I do think that it's pushing him, and it's showing up as illusions of Becca. And this, now I do think that like his old mate or whatever, that his World War buddy, I do think that guy is now an illusion. So yeah, I strongly do think that this fool's have an illusion of these people. These people don't exist. Until I see that dude interact with someone in the real world, I'm gonna think that. So this fool's kind of going through a Tyler Durden situation. I do think at one point these personalities will take over. Hopefully it's the Becca one, but I do think the other one will take over. So I'm excited to see that. I will be touching up on the next episode when it comes out, and I hope you guys do like this. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and make sure you and make sure you hit that bell button. Have a great day.